Understood.
time consuming.
I'm king, I can do what I want. He was wanting to fire the big police chief the last time. We got because the way it was going about it was all wrong. Guaranteed they'd have a big crowd across left field and he was hell bent on finding something to get fired up.
You gotta go
So
there.
he set up secret surveillance in and out like on the laptop.
Well, newspaper ain't reporting.
And now we've got, they deleted it.
We have two things. We have a hearing. I will read, call as that public hearing with the intent for the county of Coles to sell $600,000 in general obligation bonds. Whereas the county of Coles, Illinois, known as the county, is duly organized and existing unit of local government and created existing under the provisions of the laws of the state of Illinois, is now operating under the provisions of the county's code of state of Illinois as amended. This notice is hereby given of a public open hearing for the intent of selling $600,000 in general revenue bonds. So, with that, there has been a sign-up sheet provided. Mr. Marvin, could you collect the,
That sign-up sheet for the public comment?
one is for the public comment, one is for this hearing right now,
Oh, add my name to the hearing.
okay?
I didn't realize you had two of them.
Yeah.
That was my mistake, your fault.
You want both of these?
No, just,
You're on the right.
yeah, yeah, Brian, yeah, please bring me both. Yeah. So, oops. Okay. Well, I will entertain comments from the first name on the list, Mr. Allen.
Should I raise this up or should I
Make yourself comfortable.
how much was the revenue bonds again?
600, up to 600,000.
Up to 600,000.
Yes.
So we identified a number that you need.
We are getting much closer. It's more in the 400,000 range.
So why would we ask for more than what we need?
Unforeseen catastrophe, we do not have to draw the entire lump sum at the beginning.
Right.
We can go and, I guess, retrieve, sell more bonds at a later, well, within a 3-year window of time.
Does anybody historically know when the last time you guys did that for the county? Or if it's ever been done?
The bond, a bond,
A revenue bond like this?
we have a current bond operating, George, go ahead.
8 years ago.
8 years ago.
Okay. And any idea of the interest rates, has that been discussed or?
As of today, with our bond mid-state representative, it was 3.5. And this bond will be issued 5 years.
Okay, and last question, if you don't know, I understand, can you confirm that that rate was documented on the paperwork that was presented for this hearing? Reason I ask, if it's not, it's a voidable bond that has to be disclosed on the face of the paperwork. You don't have to ask, you don't have to give me an answer, I just want to give you a heads up on that, because if it's not, that definitely will be an issue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Allen. Any further comments on, in this public hearing for the general bond monies. Yes, Mr.
Just have
Stein?
a question. What are you gonna use that money for? What's it for?
We have a major roof repair. It's for capital improvements. Our lower level elevator, it's running with Band-Aids right now. So there's something so simple as when that elevator goes down for repair, there has to be a temporary ADA ramp, a handicap ramp put in as a rental. That's $22,000 just to rent it for maybe 60 days,
We've got 30 days for.
30 days, okay. So nothing's cheap, but major roof repair, the elevator repair, some of the guttering needs restructured, redone, all physical improvements that need to be done, that's what it's going for. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I just had one question, is that okay? I didn't
Yeah,
sign
yeah.
it. Will local contractors be bidding on this work, or you probably haven't taken any bids yet for it because you haven't approved it, but will-
No, we have not. We've gotten some cost, well, Mr. Coffey, would you please?
So far, the
Buildings and grounds.
yeah, so far the elevator is the only thing we've gotten. Well, that and the gutters we've gotten hard quotes on. But for instance, the elevator, it's a couple local guys, but their company's actually Cone out of Peoria. It is a couple local guys doing it, but it's not really much in our area for operating elevator. Now they also have contracts with Eastern and stuff like that, so they're here quite frequently. They're familiar with our elevators. They service our elevators currently. But yes, I would like to see us get bids from local contractors, especially looking at the roof, some of those non-specialty items. So
and the requirements are probably prevailing wage and all that stuff.
I believe so,
Now,
yes.
out of your control. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, wonderful. Any other? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn this hearing.
So moved.
Moved by Metzger, seconded by Mr. Marvin. And we'll have a roll call on that, please.
Bell,
Yes?
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger.
Yes.
Purdy. Yes. Shook,
Yes.
Barone.
Yes.
Zuhon.
Yes. Okay, now we will officially call the board. All right. Will the record show that Mr. Shook verbally seconded that particular motion? All right. Call this meeting, the county board meeting for the month of September to order. Roll call, please.
Bell,
Here.
Coffee,
Here.
Corey. Here. Daly,
Here.
Doty,
Here.
Dowdy,
Here.
Marvin,
Here.
Metzger.
Yes.
Purdy. Here. Shook,
Here.
Barone.
Here.
Zuhon.
Here, may I get a clarification, who responded yes to, it's not a vote, it's a here or present or something like that?
I think in over 10 years on the board, I've never said here. I've always said yes.
Okay. Mr. Metzger is
I'm a
here.
rebel.
Okay. Announcements, nothing extraordinary to go through. This time, an invocation. God Almighty, give us peace in our hearts and our minds. Help us to remember all those who have suffered through this tragic situation with the hurricane of Dorian, the people displaced, those that lost their lives. Be with all of those that are responding with help and aid. Help us to remember the families of those lost on 9/11. 11 years ago, these people are still grieving, still need your care and tenderness. We pray for healing and understanding. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Please join in a moment of silent reflection. Please rise, we'll have the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The board packet has been sent to you for your perusal. Minutes of all are contained within. Any additions or corrections? Everybody reviewed them. Motion to approve. Ms. Corey, second. Mr. Doty, roll call, please.
Bell?
Yes.
Corey, Coffee?
Yes.
Corey? Yes. Daly?
Yes.
Doty?
Yes.
Dowdy?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Metzger?
Mr. Chairman, we voted on both minutes. We had the special meeting in the August. Close it.
Two meetings.
Okay.
Yeah, Will. Who's, Ms. Corey, you offered the motion. Does that include both meetings?
Yes.
Okay. And John? All right, thank you. Yes, it is for both meetings.
Thank you. Yes.
Just continue from there.
Yep.
Metzger, yes. Purdy?
Yes.
Shook?
Yes.
Barone?
Yes.
Zuhon?
Yes. Okay. Patience here, folks. I have 11 appointments, all to drainage districts. I would love to do them as a lump sum, but I cannot. We have one appointment to be made to the Brewster Rice Drainage District. The individual is Urban Doak. With advice and consent to the board.
Bell?
Yes.
Coffee?
Yes.
Corey?
Yes.
Daly?
Yes.
Doty?
Yes.
Dowdy?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Metzger?
Yes.
Purdy?
Yes.
Shook?
Yes.
Barone?
Yes.
Zuhon?
Yes. I have an appointment to the Coles-Clark Drainage District, Ray Galbraith. Advice and consent to the board, please.
Bell?
Yes.
Coffee?
Yes.
Corey?
Yes.
Daly?
Yes.
Doty?
Yes.
Dowdy?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Metzger?
Yes.
Purdy?
Yes.
Shook?
Yes.
Barone?
Yes.
Zuhon?
Yes. There's one appointment to be made to Drainage District number 12 of Humboldt, and that is Floyd Miller. With advice and consent of the board, please. Roll call.
Bell?
Yes.
Coffee?
Yes.
Corey?
Yes.
Daly?
Yes.
Doty?
Yes.
Dowdy?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Metzger?
Yes.
Purdy?
Yes.
Shook?
Yes.
Barone?
Yes.
Zuhon?
Yes. One appointment to Drainage District number 2 of Mattoon, Steve Daigle. With advice and consent of the board. Roll call.
Bell?
Yes.
Coffee?
Yes.
Corey?
Yes.
Daly?
Yes.
Doty?
Yes.
Dowdy?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes.
Metzger?
Yes.
Purdy?
Yes.
Shook?
Yes.
Barone?
Yes.
Zuhon?
Yes. We have one appointment to the Holman Mutual Drainage District. This individual is Greg Rhodes. With advice and consent of the board. Roll call, please.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy. Yes. Shook,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Zumal.
Yes. One appointment to the Kickapoo Drainage District, Christopher Walker, with advice and consent of the board.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy. Yes. Shook,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Zumal.
Yes. We have an appointment to the Little Wabash Drainage District, Gary Bosky, advice and consent of the board.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy. Yes. Shook,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Zumal.
Yes. We have an appointment to the Loxa Drainage District, Kurt Newmeyer, advice and consent of the board. Roll call, please.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy. Yes. Shook,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Zumal.
Yes. There's one appointment to be made to the Consolidated Drainage District Number 412 of North Okaw, Mervyn Hirschberger. Advice and consent of the board. Roll.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy. Yes. Shook,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Yes.
Zumal.
We have an appointment to the Shellhammer Drainage District, Dwayne Seaman is the individual. Advice and consent of the board. Roll call, please.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy. Yes. Shook,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Yes.
Zumal.
And one appointment to the Union Drainage District Number 1 of Mattoon and Whitley, Brett Bond, with advice and consent of the board. Roll call.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy. Yes. Shook,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Zumal.
Yes. That concludes that. That's only once a year. Item number 12, we have approval of the budget. Dan, can you refresh?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We are currently in budget figuring, so at the conclusion of today's meeting, we will recess rather than adjourn. We reviewed revenue numbers. We have been going through expense lines, and we're making progress in the way towards having a balanced budget.
Okay, very good, thank you. Committee reports. We will go with office and rules first.
Building grounds?
I'm sorry.
Could be building grounds or in one.
I don't have it listed on mine, but, okay.
Building grounds or, you know,
Buildings and grounds then, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Buildings and Grounds Committee met at 5:30 on August 26th with the following members in attendance: Rick Shook, Nancy Purdy, Warren Brown, and myself, Chairman presiding. Also in attendance was Monty Walters, Maintenance Supervisor, and Lisa McMichaels, Administrative Assistant. Mr. Walters passed out, gave us a maintenance update on the activities of his department. An estimate for roof repairs was presented to the members. Discussion followed. Guttering was not estimated as of that point. A motion was made by Mrs. Purdy to forward to the Finance Committee and second by Mr. Brown. The motion carried unanimously. Under old business, Mr. Walters distributed the 5-year strategic plan to the members. It is attached in your board book. This includes repair to the elevator and ramp project, which is estimated roughly at $100,000 combined. Discussion followed. Mr. Walters discuss the lighting issue. Ameren has an energy saving program that could be most beneficial to this need. Under new business, a new state law is requiring a fire alarm or sprinkler system for all animal shelters that are not staffed 24 hours a day. Mr. Walters is looking into this. Mr. Walters also explained that the south arch windows are being repaired. A lift was needed for this job. Luckily, we actually had one on site for them looking at the gutters and the roof. So he was able to do that, and we asked him to proceed with the north windows as well while the lift was here. Okay, and the 2020 budget was presented to the members by Mr. Walters. After discussion, Mr. Shook made a motion to forward to the Finance Committee. Mrs. Purdy seconded, and the motion carried unanimously. There's no miscellaneous business, and the meeting adjourned at 6:19 on a motion by Mr. Shook, and second by Mr. Burrow.
Thank you, Mr. Coffey. Okay, now, we'll go back to Mr. Bell, County Office and Rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The County Offices and Rules Committee was called to order at 4:30 p.m. September 3rd, 2019. With the tax cycle update, Ms. Shores reported splits and combos are currently being processed. She also reported the Board of Review will be meeting on September 19th, 2019. There was no old business, new business. A renewal of Building H storage lease with the Coles County Airport Authority was discussed. This was for Mr. Schneers. Mr. Doty moved to forward this matter to the county board. It was seconded by Mr. Metzger. At this time, I so move.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Bell to renew the contract. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second by Mr. Metzger. Discussion? This item is for a temporary war.
Yes, sir.
In case unfortunate things happen. So roll call, please.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy. Yes. Shook,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Yes.
A request of a reimbursement policy was made by the Sheriff's Office regarding traveling and transport. The board would like more information regarding this matter. The members tabled this item until the October Office and Rules Committee meeting, and Sheriff Rankin will provide more information to the members. No miscellaneous business. The meeting adjourned at 4:47 p.m. on a motion by Mr. Doty and a second by Ms. Ford. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Bell. Emergency food and shelter, Mr. Dowdy.
No need, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Shook was their emergency telephone system meeting.
We had a meeting Thursday, Mr. Chairman, and just to let you know, we were going over the budget situation and all that, and I just want to say also that Mr. Bernie's doing a wonderful job there at the 911 system. We most certainly have nothing to worry about. We're in good hands, folks.
Okay, thank you. Finance Committee, Mr. Metzger.
Finance Committee was called to order September 3rd, 2019 at 5 p.m. Following members present: Brandon Bell, Travis Coffey, Stan Metzger, Chairman presiding, Mike Zuhone, and Brian Marvin were unable to attend. Also attending were George Edwards, Treasurer, Jimmy Rankin, Sheriff, and Lisa McMichaels, Administrative Assistant. The Treasurer's update: the second installment for taxes was due that day. As of the end of today's business, 23% of the taxes had not yet been collected. Old business: the public defender's salary approval was discussed. A motion was made by Bell to forward this matter to the county board, and the motion was seconded by Coffey and passed unanimously. And at this time, I so move.
Been moved by Metzger.
I'll second.
Mr. Bell, seconds. Discussion?
Mr. Chairman, please, how much is his salary?
I am
It's set by the state, and the public defender is 90% reimbursed, so the county's obligation is 10%.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffey,
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly, Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Zulo.
Yes.
Sorry. Continuing in new business, a resolution to amend the budget regarding the sheriff's uniform overtime grant and bulletproof vest grants were presented to the board. Mr. Coffey moved forward these amendments to the county board, seconded by Bell, carried unanimously, and at this time I so move.
I'll second.
Moved by Metzger, seconded by Coffey. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffey,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Daly,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Zulo.
Yes.
Item 2, 11 tax sale resolutions were presented for consideration. Mr. Coffey moved forward these to the county board, seconded by Bell, and carried unanimously, and at this time I so move.
There's been a motion to approve tax sale resolutions.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Bell, seconds. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffey,
Yes.
Corey, yes. Daly,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Zulo.
Yes.
We concluded our meeting that day with a fiscal year 2020 budget, quick review, or starting that review and discussion. That meeting adjourned at 5:34 PM on a motion by Coffey and a second by Bell. Are there further? Just a moment here to scan forward. It's tax resolutions.
Did you want to review the August 26th, the initial revenue?
That's what I was getting.
I think it's right before. There this is on my board.
Okay, sorry about that. Prior to that then, on August 26th, 2019, the Finance Committee was called to order at 2 p.m. with the following members present: Brandon Bell, Mike Zuhone, Stan Metzger, Chairman presiding, Travis Coffey, and Brian Marvin were unable to attend. Also attending were George Edwards, Treasurer, Carla Swinford, Treasurer's Office, Elaine Carpus-Kamada, and Lisa McMichaels, Administrative Assistant. There was no Treasurer's update in old business. In new business, the 2020 budget was reviewed, and that meeting adjourned at 4 p.m. on a motion by Zuhone and a second by Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Metzger. Okay. Health and Safety. The Health and Safety Committee will call to order at 4:30 p.m. with the following members present: John Doty, Stan Metzger, Nancy Purdy, Rick Shook, and myself, Chairman presiding. Also attending Dan Ensign, Coles Ema, Julie Dieters from the Care Center, and Lisa McMichaels, Administrative Assistant. Under the Care Center update, the monthly reports will be distributed to the members at a later time. Ms. Dieters explained about the different programs available for those on fixed income, etc. She also informed the members about a new law regarding sprinkler system if shelters are not staffed 24 hours a day. Discussion followed while the maintenance supervisor is checking on possible solutions. In the EMA update, Mr. Ensign updated the members on the spontaneous volunteer resolution recently being passed by the city of Charleston. He reported that the city of Mattoon will be voting on this resolution in early September as well. Under old business, there was none. New business, there was none. Miscellaneous business, Mr. Daly and Mr. Zuhone recently attended a conference on recreational cannabis, and discussion followed. The meeting adjourned at 5:04 p.m. on a motion by Mr. Doty and a second by Mr. Doty. Insurance Committee.
Mr. Chairman, the insurance meeting met on August 13th, 2019. The insurance meeting was called over at 6:45 with the following members present: Nancy Purdy, Brian Marvin, Denise Corey, John Doty, and myself. Mike Zuhone attended as an ex officio. Also attending was George Edwards, Treasurer, Julie
Coyle County Clerk, and Lisa Michaels, Administrative Assistant. I updated the members on the cyber insurance. We got a quote, and this quote updated the members on the cyber attack in Moultrie, on the Moultrie County Clerk's office last year, which stimulated this conversation and asked for us a quote because we didn't have cyber insurance, and that turned out to be very expensive for Moultrie County. The coverage quote through CIRMA, our insurance is $1,653 to cover up to December 1st of this year. Ms. Purdy moved to approve the application for additional coverage, and Mr. Marvin seconded, and it passed unanimously. There was no new business, no miscellaneous business, and the meeting adjourned at 6:56 p.m. on a motion by Mr. Doty and a second by Ms. Purdy.
Thank you, Mr. Daly. There was no liquor commission meetings, mental health board, Mr. Metzger.
Mr. Chairman, our next meeting is scheduled for September the 19th.
Very good. Planning and development.
That meeting, there was no meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Public health board, I will repeat, Mr. Metzger just said our next public health board meeting is scheduled for September 19th. Brings us to Road and Bridge.
Road and Bridge met on August 26, 2019, and was called to order at 5:10 p.m. with the following members present: John Doty, Rick Shook, Travis Coffey, Jeremy Dowdy, and myself presiding. Also attending were Rick Johnson, County Engineer, and Lisa McMichaels, Administrative Assistant. Under old business, there was none. Under new business, Mr. Johnson presented the members with an agreement with ESI Consultants Limited for Phase 2 engineering services on a proposed superstructure rehab on County Highway 2 north of Raritan. It's in your board packet if you want to see exactly where this bridge is. A motion was made by Mr. Doty and seconded by Mr. Coffey, and it passed unanimously. And at this time, I so move.
Very good. Motion to enter into this agreement with ESI Consultants. I have a second from Mr. Shook. Discussion? Although, roll call, please.
Bell.
Yes.
Coffey.
Yes.
Corey. Yes. Daly.
Yes.
Doty.
Yes.
Dowdy.
Yes.
Marvin.
Yes.
Metzger.
Yes.
Purdy. Yes. Shook.
Yes.
Barone.
Yes.
Zumal.
Yes.
Next item of business, Mr. Johnson presented the members with the FY 2020 County Highway budget for review. It's in your board packet. Discussion followed. Mr. Coffey moved to forward the recommendation to the Finance Committee and seconded by Mr. Shook, and it passed unanimously. Next item, Mr. Johnson distributed the county engineer report to the members. It's in your board packet. There is no miscellaneous business, and the meeting adjourned at 5:25 on a motion by Mr. Doty and seconded by Mr. Coffey.
Thank you, Mr. Daly. Senior citizens.
No meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Coffey, Sheriff of Law Enforcement.
The Sheriff and Law Enforcement Committee was called to order at 5:35 p.m. on September 3rd, 2019, with the following members present: Denise Corey, Rick Shook, Juan Barone, and myself, Chairman, presiding. Also attending was Jimmy Rankin, Sheriff, Lisa McMichaels, Administrative Assistant. The Sheriff passed out the reports for review. The board members reviewed those reports. Sheriff Rankin reported that the office is still without a chief deputy, and he is fulfilling those duties, or helping fill those duties, which is saying saving $66,000 since they do not have a chief deputy still hired. The department has scheduled more testing for employment in October. Discussion followed. There's no old business. Under new business, the sheriff's budget was reviewed and discussed. Mr. Barone moved to forward the budget to the Finance Committee for further review, and Ms. Juarez seconded it. The motion carried unanimously. Sheriff Rankin provided the members with information and a biography on Charlotte Gano to be appointed to the Coles County Sheriff's Department Merit Commission. Discussion followed. Under miscellaneous business, Sheriff Rankin provided the members with information on the cost of training expenses. He also asked that possible reimbursement for those expenses in specific cases be reviewed by the state's attorney. The meeting adjourned at 6 p.m. PM on a motion by Mr. Shook and a second by Mr. Morone.
Thank you, Mr. Coffey. Mr. Marvin, supplies
Chair.
and claims.
Mr. Chairman, the Supplies and Claims Committee met, reviewed the bills, approved to be forwarded to the full board for approval, and I so move.
Motion has been made to approve and pay all bills.
I'll second that.
Mr. Bell has a second. Any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Bell,
Yes.
Coffee,
Yes.
Corey, Daly,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes.
Dowdy,
Yes.
Marvin,
Yes.
Metzger,
Yes.
Purdy, yes, Shook,
Yes.
Barone,
Yes.
Zupan.
Yes. There is no old business. No new business to be brought forward, miscellaneous business. Any need for executive session? Not? I have an announcement of an appointment, one appointment to the Majors Drainage District for next month. This brings us to my remarks. At the risk of just repeating myself, we'll now have public comment coming up. Please use proper behavior at all times. Thank you. Mr. Stodden. Stodden.
Thank you. I don't have a lot to say tonight. I thought I'd bring something that would be helpful for us to understand, because I think a lot of times people don't know certain things. Several years ago, I ran across this story about Davy Crockett. Maybe somebody's seen it. Yeah, I've got copies here. Would you pass them on, maybe? This one too. And it says Davy Crockett welfare. Now, I'm not picking on people that are in trouble tonight, but the very good reading about the Constitution, and you probably want to take it home and sit in your easy chair. Pages 4 and 5 is where it gets into the meat of things. I'm put some check marks there. We need to really rethink things in our lives. I think most of us have made the mistake of, and I know I have, of expecting too much from government. And there's really only two functions for government. You can find them over in the book of Romans. It tells you what government should do. And so take that home and read it, and let's see what we can do to improve our lives and have better government. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stodden. Mr. Perry.
Before I get into my presentation, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to address you. I think you owe me a public apology for what you did last month. You gavelled me down and stopped me from talking, and you said it was redundant talking. When I watched, Les Combs got up and talked about dumpsters, and he's been talking dumpsters all along. If anybody was out of order, it was you, not me. And I'd like a public apology for what you did.
It is my duty to conduct these meetings in the most efficient and productive manner.
I agree with that. But you're also to be equal to my partner or my fellow citizen, to me. And I don't see the line drawn between what I said and I've been saying versus what he's been saying about dumpsters for the time that he's coming. So you gavelled me down for what you call redundant remarks. But these remarks are only redundant because we keep getting redundant answers. So I feel like you owe me an apology, a public apology for what you did, because you trampled on my First Amendment rights when right.
I do not see that.
I kind of figured that from you. We'll go on now. I want to talk a little bit about what's been going on, and I hope you won't rudely interrupt me again. 3 years we come up here and keep talking about it. We keep talking about it. We keep showing you things that are wrong. We keep talking about why it's wrong. We invite the watchdogs with us because they pretty well know what can be and can't be done. The point is, I keep coming here, and for 3 years running, there's no progress in where we're at. There's no progress whatsoever. We've been to the courts. The only thing that the courts proved that it's a jurisdictional problem had nothing to do with the meat of the issue. The meat of the issue still sets in tone with everything else that's happening. And all I'm saying to you is I don't see any progress from this board. None. You don't say anything. You've been told not to talk. That's okay. We know that. You don't want to do anything about the problems that are existing, and you think that every 30 days you get a pass because you don't have to deal with us. But we're not out of oxygen or air, so it's going to continue. Right now I'm going to tell you it's going to continue. What we know, I'm going to go about what we know. 2 of you board members, which happen to be farmers, have got granted special privileges with your taxes. And the problem with that is, it looks like to me we've got 2 sets of rules. One for the haves and one for the have-nots. And I think the way this works is we all have the same rules to play by. Nobody gets any special attention. Nobody gets anything given to them. If it's good for you, it's good for me. We don't have that. 3 years of this is going on. It's the same thing over and over again. The infractions have been pointed out to you. I brought the infractions. I've asked you to do something about it. The things on the record cards is the evidence of what's wrong. I've asked, and you know that we've been persistent, so nothing happens. No, so real quick, and I'm going to digress a little bit, but it's just a point. In 2016, the reassessment was started, and the county adopted a quadrennial system. That's what you did 2015, you talked about it, voted on it, 2016 it happened. If you read, and this is something I think you all ought to learn and read, it's the Illinois property tax system. It's downloadable, you can read it all. All for reassessments, it says by law, each property other than farmland must be viewed, inspected, and revalued once every 4 years. 2016 is the quadrennial year. Understand what I'm saying? That means everything has to be looked at. Well, you looked at commercial and industrial property. You had sales from market value studies on the residential property. But once again, nothing was done with the farming buildings. They haven't been reassessed. So if we're really and I want to make sure everybody understands, if you're really doing a quadrennial assessment, you can't leave something out. It's all got to be current. And it all follows the townships. Wasn't done, folks. The records will show that it wasn't done. So, here we are with the quadrennial system. And then, when we find out that Kelly spends 62 days in, there's more violations going on in the Supervisor of Assessment's office. She's pointed them out. She's come forward with them. We know more now than what we did. We obviously know that there's something wrong. So we're not stupid from the standpoint of knowing what we're talking about here. Mr. Danley, we met with you last week. Thank you, sir, for your time. What we learned from that is that we're split on the insurance issue. We were able to talk about the insurance issue, but we're not talking about Bob Becker's issue because that's something else, and he declined to speak, and that's okay, I understand that. But Mr. Becker's hiring is still a problem. We don't have any real issues of what has happened and why, and there's no end of what's happened because he was hired illegally. He wasn't done right. He was hired to do the supervisor of assessment's job. It's all in black and white. We've got all the evidence. It's all there. I'll move on. So nothing has been settled with this board. And we've tried. God knows, we've tried to figure out how to fix things. I'm here tonight to inform you, we're going to invite both federal and state agencies in to find out what's going on, because obviously this isn't working, and you're unwilling to do anything about it. Mr. Danley cannot speak for us. We're the citizens. He's already made his allegiance to the county board, so I'm going to ask for a third party to intervene, because I believe there's enough wrong here that somebody needs to look deeper. And since you don't want to do anything to fix anything, you're making me do what I got to do. So, there's enough evidence, I can guarantee you, from 2016 on, and it's all in video and emails. It's all there, folks. The right persons just haven't seen it yet, and we're going to make sure that they do. Because you pushed us to this. Okay? You don't want to fix nothing. When you're told about it, you don't want to fix it. We continue down the road, nothing in 3 years. Nothing to show equalization, not fair play. So I'm done with that. Watchdogs, they come in here every time we come in here, and what they say is they don't understand it, because they go to other counties and they actually try to help counties, just like you all. When you don't do something right, they point it out and try to get you to fix it. But there's some things there you don't want to fix, and he'll tell you that. So we're different. For some reason, Coles County doesn't like the help, because they think they've got all the answers, I guess. So all I'm wanting to do to tell you is tonight that we're looking at this thing from the standpoint of anything that we're going to look at, it's fair game from here on. And we've got the evidence, and I'm going to look to a higher authority to get something for the citizens, because the citizens are getting nowhere. And lastly, this is not threats that I'm not offering a threat to anybody. I'm not threatening you. I'm promising you that. I'm promising you we're going to look into what's going on, because it ain't right. It doesn't go down good. It doesn't fit. And I'm not going to put up with no more of it. It's time for it to come to an end. 3 years with nowhere, it's over. Now, last but not least, no threats, only promises, and promises made here will be promises kept. Thank you.
First of all, I heard my name, and I don't know anything about the farm assessments. I did farm land when I was in, and that's all set by the state. But I assume that the township assessors probably have records of that when they were out. I don't know enough about that. But I do have a question. Where are we at on the duplexes? Have those exemptions been taken off?
We are trying to let Denise get settled in. She knows of the issues, and I know that she is starting to work on the problems that are in that office.
Okay, you know that would take about 15 minutes to get those exemptions off?
We are letting her get settled in and getting things fixed.
So when can we expect those to be changed?
I'll have an answer for you at the next meeting.
Okay, and same with all the Charleston leasehold exemptions that were not correct? Again, I read all the leases and everything for those, none of them are correct. Did those get taken care of?
I'll have an answer for you at the next meeting.
Okay, and there was another one. I should have brought notes tonight. I didn't. With everything in ProVal, how soon before everything will be out of ProVal and you will not be using that? Everything will be in DevNet?
Don't have an answer for you on that.
Stan Metzger had mentioned that you could maybe do interns and get it all done quicker. There is not a line item on the budget for that, but you said you could make that happen?
I said that?
Yes, you did.
Okay, well, I may have been mistaken, then I don't know.
Okay, can you get a line item on the budget for that office to get interns so we can get that all in? So everybody's paying a fair share of taxes.
A line item for intern work.
I think that would be cheaper and a lot quicker to get it all in the system. I mean, this has been since 2011, there's no excuse.
How long was you doing this?
62 days.
Why didn't you do something when it was done?
Pardon me?
Why didn't you do something about it when
I
it was
did,
done?
I tried, but it's gonna take, and I talked to Brandon about it, I said 4 months. You know, I had it out how many a day. Turns out some of the girls don't have floor plan, they can't do the floor plans, so they couldn't switch them over. So I did, but 62 days is not a long time.
Well, she just got there for 30 days, so. I mean,
Well, but those exemptions that are incorrect will take about 15 minutes to do. I brought it to Mike Zuhom's attention, and he said, don't do anything with it. This was the day before I left. He was very adamant that he did not want me to do anything. I had already rewritten the leasehold from the state statutes, but he asked me not to do anything with that, and that was the day before my last day. Otherwise, it would have been done. It would have been done. So can we maybe get some interns in to get everything out of ProVal and into the DevNet system? So everybody's paying their fair share? And can we see to it that it's not, that there's not functional obsolescence deducted off of everything they're pulling out of ProVal to go into DevNet? The reason that's happening is because when it pulls over into DevNet, the values are too high. So instead of leaving it alone, and the reason they're too high is because DevNet hasn't been updated in many years. So when they pull it over into DevNet, the values all go really high. Well, the only thing they know to do is take functional obsolescence, subtract whatever it was to make it the same as it was in ProVal. Well, that's not right, and that's not correct. But then you're saying that every one of those properties has functional obsolescence. First of all, how do you know that? You don't. But
So
that's the only way.
Bob Becker was doing this?
No, the girls in the office are doing that. Every time they pull over from ProVal, ProVal is so old that everything's dated. So when it pulls over into DevNet, the values are much higher, where they should be. But they don't want to do that, so they take off for functional obsolescence. And
Well, we got
so then they're not, so those people aren't paying their share either.
We got
I'm just
somebody
saying
in
we-
there now, give her a chance and we'll see what happens.
Well, that's what I'm asking for, maybe interns to get in there so it can get done quickly, so everybody's paying their share of taxes. I mean, it's a real problem. It needs to be addressed. But I would like to hear answers. A lot of people were here last month and everybody said, nobody said anything. Nobody answered anybody. You all just sat real quietly. I would like to have some answers next month, please. When this is going to get done, the exemptions are off. Splitting duplexes is not going to happen again, and those exemptions are off those properties. I would like answers, please. That be okay next month? We'll have some answers on those things?
I think Brandon has said he's going to try and get answers.
Okay, I
So
appreciate that.
And these are legitimate questions. I did have one question. You mentioned about Charleston leasehold issues. Are you saying there's no problems with Mattoon?
I don't know, Charleston's the only one I had time to look at, so.
Mattoon may.
I mean, I'll be glad to come in and look at them for you and read all the leases.
You mentioned Charleston, that's what I
Those
just
are
want
the,
to make
okay,
sure.
thank you. Those are the only ones that I was able to
But
get
Mattoon
through.
could be a problem too, right?
Oh, there's no doubt.
Okay.
There's a big problem.
You make-
Not just in Mattoon, Ashmore, Oakland, all the townships.
Just wanted to clarify so we know.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be glad to come and read leases for you. And what you're asking of those landlords is clearly written on what you're handing out, and it's not being met. They're giving them to them anyway. It clearly says it has to be a 1-year lease, and they're putting them on no leases, 6-month leases, 10-month leases, 11.5-month leases, some no leases at all. I mean, it's a scam. Okay? Thanks.
Mr. Dukeman.
I just want to follow up on what Kelly just mentioned with all those deductions that we're giving out to people with properties like that. that could be several $1,000s. We're having issues with revenue in our county. I would think that'd be one of the first things we'd want to address is making sure that we're following, you know, statutes and we're not doing things that we shouldn't be doing in that area.
Mr.
That
Dillon,
exemption is the same as an owner-occupied.
It's not going, it's not going to add revenue. The levy is what the levy is, it's who pays what. So leasehold exemptions, the exemptions allow a cheaper rate that's passed on to tenants. It does not change how much money is coming into the tax levy.
It would change the amount of money that everybody else
has to pay.
Yes, when a landowner who gets a leasehold exemption pays less, then a homeowner pays more.
Okay.
So the rest
Or
of
a
us are paying
farm
more
landowner,
for
or
those because they're not paying
industrial.
their share.
The levy is set.
Right.
It's how it gets
So
filled.
somebody has to pay it.
But the amount of money you're taking in is less, correct?
No.
No?
The levy is what the levy is.
Because you and I pay more.
The proportions are off.
And with the duplexes, we're
Somebody
talking
has to
about
make up the difference.
12, 13 properties, correct, in the whole
Right.
county? So
Correct.
that's not a large number. It needs to be fixed, but the duplexes, I thought it'd be hundreds.
Right.
It is as far as
It's
the leasehold
13.
exemptions though. And that's
I'm
the same
talking
exemption they're
duplexes,
getting.
correct? Duplexes,
Well, those
13.
should have never been done.
I understand, but are we talking 13 for
Of
the duplexes?
But we're talking about
I
hundreds
understand.
and hundreds of leaseholds.
I understand that, but I'm talking about the duplexes.
Yes.
And those leaseholds are being used by some of the members of your group as well.
And let's all put it out there.
Well, that's true, and so's Bob Becker. What about
All on the
that?
same, let's all play by the same rules.
What about that?
And I don't have a problem, you know, if it damages Rob's income or whatever.
Doesn't matter.
That's part of it, you know? We're playing by the same set of rules, all of us, you know? That's
I
how
agree
it
with
has to
that.
be. And, you know, so that's the way it should be. I just want to follow up the last month, our board chairperson, he gave me a document and I questioned whether it actually came, you know, was legit or not. Rob and myself, and with the assistance of Mrs. Coe, we went into the archives and we did find the document dated October 11th, 1977. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware that what was on that piece of paper he handed me is actually on this document here. Okay, the resolution for the group health insurance plan. Okay, it was voted on by the board to give the Buildings and Ground Committee authorization to reach an agreement with it. With that, we still don't have anything as far as a resolution for pay for board members to actually be receiving it this current cycle. So, just my opinion, but for the 4 people that are actually receiving the benefits right now, that basically, to me, is theft of public funds. And I don't know how you can say it any different, but it shouldn't be happening. And I know you have legal counsel here, but I'd actually encourage each and every one of you to seek your own legal counsel outside of our state's attorney also, and see what their opinion is of the matter. You know, could be for your benefit. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Allen, did you want to address in public comment?
Boy, do I. I have a complaint,
Okay.
and I know you folks don't have any control over it, other than you appoint your Board of Health for the Coles County Health Department. I love ice cream. I really love the sprinkles on my ice cream cone at Dairy Queen. I can't get it anymore in Coles County because the health department banned it. So if you got any inside connections that might help get my crunch cones back.
You really want us using our inside connections to get things done?
Absolutely. That's how we do things, right? We stopped by the health department, we asked them, and the health department was deer in the headlights. They had no clue what we were talking about, but all the Dairy Queen says the health department stopped us from doing it. We have yet to get an answer or any policy that's written, but I challenge you, if you find a Dairy Queen in Coles County that will give you a crunch cone, let me know, because I really like my crunch cone on my way home. All right, that's the personal
Does
message.
that include the eyes at Burger King?
I'm not sure.
I do have,
I'll have people say.
is it possible that this is a federal thing? Listen,
It's not.
no, serious, I'm very serious, because Coles County used to currently had some of the most stringent health code restrictions in the state. However, it's recently been uniformly done nationwide, correct? We just passed this last year.
Ask that.
I don't know the answer to your
Get
question,
them at Marshall still.
Both.
but I'm wondering if
You
it
can.
isn't, if it isn't,
No,
nationwide, but
You can get them in
there
Marshall, you can
change.
get them in Arcola, you can get, I mean, we.
Really?
Oh, trust me. Now, initially, yes, initially I was told it was a peanut allergy.
That's my, I don't
And,
know what.
and my response was, okay, can I have a peanut butter parfait? And they said, sure. So, that one didn't go anywhere, okay? But anyway, I don't know if you guys can find out from the health department what the reasoning was. They've not
I
been able
have
to
a
tell us.
public health board meeting coming up on September
If you
19th.
could ask them about it, just
I'll ask
because
them.
all the Dairy Queens tell us it was the health department. When we went there, they had no clue what we were talking about.
Let me write this down.
So, we've got the
Well, who
pictures.
told Dairy Queen they couldn't serve Springs?
They said the health department told them. So we did go to Arcola, we got our crunch cone, we got the picture, we're ready for the article, but we don't know how to write it just yet. All right, enough with the ice cream. Now see, we can have a little bit of fun, right? The reports that you read, most of them, if I recall, had action that you went ahead and voted to take the action on. Thank you, except one, I didn't catch any action. It was the committee that took action for the cybersecurity. The report was read, but I didn't hear a motion that the board was voting to take that action. It was the committee that took the action. So I would ask that you double check that and make sure that the board's making that decision, not a committee, because I don't believe committees can make those kind of decisions.
Yes.
Yes, you are correct in what that report from Mr. Daly said. I did recall that, so.
I would appreciate that.
Yes, we can.
There's no, just,
We can clarify next
yeah,
week.
Yeah.
Next meeting, put it on the agenda and clean it
Go
up.
back and see whether authorization, has been given for,
no, fair enough.
much like the buildings and grounds was given, that authority for the health insurance.
You bet, fair enough. The paperwork that Charlie passed out, I went to the checkmark page, there's some great stuff on constitutionality. I've said it several times, where in the laws that say you can do it, back to says who with what proof. I would encourage you, ask that question every time you go to make a decision. We will have some written opinions shortly on both the Bob Becker assessment situation and the health insurance situation out of one of the largest law firms in Chicago. And we're looking forward to presenting that because it will follow up with probably legal action if it's not taken care of. Thank you much. That's all I got.
Well, yeah, we'll review it.
Okay.
If we find that, then
I
that'd
will
be good.
find that.
Mr. Donato, I'm not avoiding you, I'm just
No.
trying to, a little housekeeping and.
No problem. Couple questions. First, I never did get my FOIA request.
I looked on my computer, they were there. I forwarded them on to the assessor's office, and you never got anything.
No.
She sent it to you on August 30th at
Check my spam, check my email. I don't use the erase email.
Okay, well, we don't either. We don't
So,
delete, we don't junk.
I didn't have anything in my
So I
spam.
forwarded it again. She's been in a meeting in Springfield, which she probably was there tonight, yesterday and today and tomorrow. So you will be getting it.
Okay. I was hoping to have it for not, that's okay. I understand.
Sorry about that. And honestly,
That's
you
okay.
can come
Honest
on
mistake,
my
I get it.
computer that, well, I mean, it's been sent. Because
I just don't have it.
she forwarded it to me and I opened up everything and it's all right there. And I'm CC'd on it and it's been forwarded to you. So I
Maybe they got the email run, I don't know. Body Club at Consolidated.net.
Yeah.
I didn't get it, and it wasn't in my spam, so if I can't, I'll just get a hard copy of it.
Oh,
That's all right.
Because she sent it to you, I think, the 23rd of August.
Yeah, I didn't get it. Because I followed up with an email to you, I think, late last week, and I said I didn't receive the FOIA for the 5-day statutory period. I mean, I did send,
Friday, maybe?
could have been Friday,
So.
Thursday or
I
Friday.
forwarded it on again, and you didn't get anything from Michelle or anyone in that office, because they resent it again. And I've got them both on my screen.
Didn't get it, I never had trouble before. That's all right, I mean, I'll just get a
What's your
hard.
email address, Mr. Donasso?
Body Club
Uh-huh,
at Consolidated.net.
okay. That's what I've got, but I'm gonna double check that. That's all right, okay.
So I'd like to get that.
I apologize.
Okay. And I run a business. I make mistakes and sometimes things get delayed. I understand that. I'm not an unreasonable person. I mean, I've been coming here 2.5 years though. I guess I wrote some things down. I may just deviate and just talk for a minute and just call it quits. I really don't think what got us to this point has to continue. I mean, you just heard Mr. Allen talking about legal opinion, legal action. I still don't understand. No one is out to get anyone here or I gotcha. When we point something out that's not right and you don't take any action, you leave us to speculation, you're quiet, and nothing gets done. And you may not believe that statement about someone out to get you, but it's the same thing with the insurance. You guys know that the insurance isn't being taken legally. We've provided the documentations. All you have to do is fix it. If that means you have to drop your insurance and wait till 180 days or 6 months or whatever the statutory period is after the election, before the election, whatever the law is, pass the resolution and do it. We wouldn't be here complaining. But I think the fact that you're not following the law and refuse to follow the rules, it's a double standard. And I agree 100% with Rob. It's a double standard because I don't pay my taxes. You're selling my property at a tax sale. I'm 1 day late. 1 day late, I'm paying interest on that. I break the law and then the sheriff's department comes out to my house. What am I going to say? Well, let it slide. No, I follow the law like everybody else. I don't know why the board doesn't have to. We're here to hold you accountable because you work for us. And I know you may not like that, but that's the way government's supposed to work in a democratic republic. That's just the way it's supposed to work. And so you can make this real easy on yourselves by just following the law, acknowledging, okay, we'll fix it. Not avoid, try to have us file more lawsuits and then try some legal procedures or delays to try to prevent it from actually being heard. That's garbage. And that's a waste of our time. It's a waste of your time. It's garbage. And it's just showing us that you either don't want to lead, because leaders don't do that kind of crap. Okay? I'm a coach. I don't like that crap. Okay? I'm straightforward. You do what you got to do. You do your job. Whatever it takes to do your job, you do your job. If you make a mistake along the way, okay, I made a mistake, I screwed up, we'll sit down, we'll fix it, we'll make it right, we move on. But that doesn't happen here. So it is aggravating. I'm not going to make something as petty as, taking roll an issue, but Stan, you said, I'm going to summarize a paraphrase, I won't get it right. I've been on the board for 10 years and I've never said here or present. Clearly you're supposed to say that, but I have a sign across the street in my gym. You know what it says? It shows the running of the bulls and it shows a guy that's about to get gored and killed and it says, just because you've always done it that way doesn't make it incredibly stupid. Doesn't mean it's not incredibly stupid. Just because you've done something for years doesn't make it any more right. So if it's wrong, like the insurance, fix it. Don't say, well, we have the legal right to do it when you don't. Mr. Becker wasn't hired the right way. Just admit it and fix it. You guys told me early on, if there's darkness and light needs to be shined on it, shine the light. So we shine the light and we get denied, we get no, we get court cases, you push our hands. It's not right. This is not the way it's supposed to work. It makes you look bad. Doesn't make us look bad. We're just pointing out facts. And I've told you before, every time I've gotten in front of you, I always have documentation. So I don't understand.
Some people must be thinking it's okay, because these folks got reelected. I mean,
Yeah, you know what?
seriously.
Nixon got reelected too, okay? Nixon got reelected too.
Well,
Just because someone's reelected doesn't mean that what they're doing is legally right. So if that's your litmus test, well, they got elected, then everyone that's been elected in every area of government, let's just let them not follow the rule of law and do whatever they want. That doesn't hold water with me. Look, we're not asking you anything other than just to follow the rule of law. That's it. We're not asking you to do anything. No favors for yourselves because you're on the board. No favors for anybody else. If the law says this, okay, then let's just do it. But I just don't get it. And now we're gonna go another 30-day cycle, and we're gonna have to bring legal opinions, and then we're gonna have to file another lawsuit. I mean, do you guys really want to keep doing this? Because, I mean, hey, look, if you want an endurance event, I'm in shape. We'll do it. I mean, I like that kind of dance. We'll go all day if you want to do it, but I'd rather not. I'd rather just settle it, do the right thing, and move on. But you guys are never going to get past this if we don't start doing things the right way. We're not asking for anything more. Some of the newly elected people on the board, you know, some of you guys, I've never heard you speak at a meeting. I've never heard you say anything. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know what's going on in your heads, but you don't have to take the advice of everyone on the board just because you're new, just because you're the rookie. Look into it. Don't take everybody's advice. See if it's right. And if it's not, speak up. Another thing that bothers me as a citizen is when you guys take action on things and you vote, there's never any discussion. And I know you do it in committee. I know there's a lot of work to be done. But even important stuff, you'd think there'd be a little discussion at the board meeting. There's not. And everyone, you can't be on the same committee, so everyone, even though you give handouts, you're not all that informed about it. I mean, I don't understand that. Important issues. The only thing I've ever heard in the 2.5 years I've been coming here for discussion was the sign on 1000, North Road, which was pretty irrelevant in light of what's going on in our county. So, it just doesn't make sense to me. So, you know, a lot of this can be ended if there's some reciprocation. We reached out to Mr. Danley. He was nice enough to meet with us. I appreciate that, Mr. Danley, for meeting with us. He's very pleasant. He listened to us. We listened to him. You know, there's some things that can be fixed that we're willing to work with you on. But if you guys are not willing to even come to the table and say, hey, maybe this should have been done differently, or this is what the statute says, let's work it out, we're not going to make any progress. And these meetings are going to suck for the next 2.5 years for everybody. I hope we don't have to do that. So just placing a thought in your mind. We can chart a different path if you're willing. So I'm extending the olive branch from our group. It's up to you now. If we don't get any reciprocation, I'm going to take that as you guys are not interested in moving forward. So that's as straightforward as I can be. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, there was a couple of things that I missed. Would it be possible for me to step back up, please?
Sure.
This past month, I also FOIA requested some items as far as policies go. Tracking time, vacation time, and comp time. I received these here, and they're out straight out of the handbook as far as vacation policy, personal leave, and sick leave. There's nothing as far as policy that I've been able to find on comp time. Am I missing something about that? A policy for comp time that's being paid out?
I have here a policy, hours of work / overtime. Yes, I'm going to let you read this. I'll briefly.
Hours of work overtime?
Yeah, prior to the
Section
performance
14.
of overtime work by an employee, the county official department head. This basic second paragraph.
Is that right out of his handbook?
Yeah. It says, how is it gonna be compensated for, whether it be comp time or overtime and all that.
So that's, okay, section 14 here.
Yes,
Okay.
that's exactly right, I think. Prior to the performance of, yep, that's the one.
Okay. So there's nothing really set for how many hours they can actually accumulate either?
Not to my knowledge, that has to be, that's each department head. That some of the departments, such as county clerk's office, when, like next year, there's going to be additional labor involved because there's a primary and a
Right.
general election. So, you know, in those years, they can be anticipated, but not, you know, fine-tuned into, you know, the exact things.
Well, I was, you know, I didn't receive that with the FOIA request, and that's why I was bringing this up tonight. And when I looked at the index here, I didn't see anything that relayed that message, so I just wanted to cover that too.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks. Les, I did not realize your name was way up at the top. I'm not
That's
overlooking you.
That's it. I know Mike, now don't tell me that. I know Mike.
Am I up?
Yes, yes, sir, you're the only one left on the list.
All right. I'm going to give you guys a little different objective here tonight. I want to give you guys a little idea of who you're talking to, rather than just thinking I'm somebody out of the blue that's come in here to cause you grief over something. I've dealt with our family's owned a heavy equipment construction company, and I've worked in that company for 48 years. In that 48 years, I've worked with the EPA, I've worked for the EPA, and I've worked in relations to demolition jobs that involve the EPA. So I have a lot of knowledge of EPA rules and regulations. That's why I've been able to counter everything that you've come up with. Second thing that I have a lot of experience at is since 1994, I've done federal government and state government contracts, okay? Binding contracts. And I've had butted heads with the federal government on my last one, and I won. Because I do the best I can to cross my T's and dot my I's, okay? When I came here over a year and a half ago, my understanding was that this board suspended the dumpster program under the pretense that it was illegal. And I truly at that time believed that. Once I give you written documentation from the EPA that said contrary to that, and you failed to reinstate the dumpster program, then my thought process went a different direction. Okay? Then, when you know it's legal and you haven't done it, why? The other thing is I want you to understand that this dumpster program I've used maybe 3-4 times in 40 years. Okay? So I'm not here for me. In my township and my road commissioner, I see 70 and 80-year-old people on fixed incomes that come to put their material in the dumpsters. I watch my road commissioner assist them in putting it in. Okay? I watch camaraderie. Okay? The implication I'm getting with legal documentation that it's legal and you not reinstating it tells me you don't care about it. That's the impression I've got. Okay? Now, let's address the road commissioners. Okay? The legal procedure for what you should have done without the contract is that those townships should have had a well-publicized meeting on the dumpsters, got the response from those people, and brought them to you. what the people wanted, not what they wanted. Now, on their behalf, what I found out with the list you gave me, and I didn't talk to all of them, Mr. Kelly went to these road commissioners, told them there was no funds, they're depleted, they're out, they're empty. You're going to have to put a fence around it. You're going to have to get a permit, and you're going to have to stay with the dumpsters until they're picked up. Okay? Now, my road commissioner, which he did not talk to, tells me that in the contract, which I haven't been able to read it, I love to read it, says that the dumpster has to be picked up same day. Okay? Now, if that dumpster has to be picked up same day, the responsibility of the county and the road commissioner is only until the end of the day. If they fail to pick that dumpster up at the end of the day, anything that happens to that dumpster after that falls on Allied Waste for failure to fulfill the contract. Okay? This is why I'm telling you, because I've got experience in this, folks. If that's what the contract says, that's what I've been told. Okay? On the road commissioners, if I was told everything that Mr. Kelly told them, I wouldn't want it back either. Not that their voice isn't important, and I don't mean to degrade the road commissioners because they do an excellent job, but it's been part of their job for 40 years. Okay? Asking a road commissioner after he's been told what he's been told, if he wants to take the dumpsters back if they were re-implemented, is like asking a janitor if he doesn't want to clean toilets anymore. It's his job. It's been his job. It's part of his job. Okay? He's there for the people, not himself. Okay? So that addresses the issue of the road commissioners. Okay? Now, having said that, unbeknownst to me, they aired on Facebook last month's thing. The response was a few thousand people. They weren't happy. If the newspaper did their job and reported that you had legal documentation that says that the dumpsters are legal, you probably wouldn't have enough room in this courtroom for the people out of the rural area, let alone the municipalities that use those dumpsters. If he reported that you were rebound to the contract because you had legal documentation, you probably wouldn't have room in this courtroom for the people that would be in here climbing up you guys' behinds. I'm sorry. You're here for the people. Now, the other thing that I was asked, and I'm sorry, I didn't understand it, but after it was explained to me, was to ask for a formal vote. I guess I can request it. I don't know. Maybe I can't. On the dumpster program. I said, that ain't going to be good. The people that asked me said, yes, it will. Because we will know what board members are for the people and what board members are for their private agenda. Now, here's my opinion. Okay? Mr. Kelly is the one that brought this up. Whether he was asked by board members to do it, I don't know. Mr. Kelly went to the road commissioners and told them all of this. Mr. Kelly has done this. Mr. Kelly has done that. Why has Mr. Kelly done that? Why are you looking into something that 40 years has never been approached or cited by the EPA? You don't think? I mean, is there anybody here that thinks those EPA people are stupid? Okay, they aren't. If you were breaking the law, they'd have been on your ass before 40 years. Okay? They weren't. Why were they looking into the legalities of it? I was told it was because they were looking into stuff about the recycling program. They're separate entities. They aren't tied together. Okay? Now, Mike, I think you told me the recycling program qualifies for those funds, doesn't it?
It qualifies for solid waste management, I believe that's the way it's phrased.
So now, if you were in my position, what would you think? What do you think the people are going to think? I'm going to try to resolve the issue with the newspaper, if they'll print my letter to the editor, because it ain't getting done. Should be, but it ain't. Evidently, they don't care about the people, or they'd have reported it. Okay? They've got a good leg to stand on. There's a lot of evidence otherwise. Is there anybody here that can tell me and justify to me why it hadn't been re-implemented? Can you?
I don't want to get necessarily into that, but one thing you're saying, it wasn't illegal what we're doing. We've talked plenty of times over this issue, and I've told you I would like to see something done with it. But the simple fact is we are only, and your email to me, we're only allowed to have it once a year.
No.
A dumpster. With an option, I know there's an option there, but it says with agency approval, note that the agency usually limits one-day collections to hazardous and non-standard waste. In your email. So we're looking at a possibility once. So it was not appropriate what we were doing before. Am I correct or not?
No, you're incorrect. Okay? You didn't read it all. The other stipulation was in part of it, 1 per year per site. Okay?
And we were doing it
Mr.
at the same
Hobart
site
told me,
before, correct?
Mr. Hobart,
Did you have the dumpster at the same site at your township?
prior to, but that's compliance. That's not making the dumpster program illegal. That's management problem. In other words, you come into compliance. Out of compliance and being illegal is two different things. Okay? You correct it by making it in compliance. The townships have the right to have however many dumpsters they want if they have multiple sites to have it on. Okay? Or on the same site, you are correct, once, but with special permission 4 times. Okay? So you have an avenue there to correct the issue without taking it completely away from them. You have options, right?
I mean, technically you'd have an option of allowing it at least once. I'm a little hesitant on the 4 times, but at least once.
I can make a phone call for you if you aren't willing to make it. I'll make it.
I've got some emails with
Because it says it doesn't have to be in writing. They said it can be a verbal agreement to allow for dumpsters. I would rather have it in writing. I wouldn't want to just take their word, but it says just approval. But has the board even looked into even using those options? You know you can do it. Okay? And I penciled it out if you were able to do it on the old program. The money would be real close to the end of the contract if it hadn't been suspended. It may not have made it to complete, but it would have been very close. With the dumpsters, with the township road commissioner's cost share. Okay? Then which they were, it would have been close. I'm not asking you to do something that's illegal, but I'm also going to tell you that there was no reason to look in it. The EPA in the next 2 years was not going to come in and cite you. If they hadn't done it in 40 years, they weren't going to do it. Okay? There was a reason that somebody did it. They were looking for a reason to suspend the program. And I'm not saying it's you. I'm just saying somebody was. But why? Because why would you? If you hadn't had any incidents.
The only thing I can think is to extend the program.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it be, several times a year, countywide pickup.
Well,
to
even if,
extend it for
to be
multiple
honest
years.
with you, even if you had them quarterly, which is what, 3 times a year? Or 4, whatever you're allowed, 3 or 4 a year, and quarterly, the people would probably still be, and I'm sorry, but there are people out there that do need them, okay?
What do they do with their trash? If it was once a quarter, what are they doing with their trash for 3 months?
Well, I can tell you what the elderly people are going to do. They're on fixed incomes. They're going to save it. That's why those dumpsters were filled in 2 to 3 hours after they hit the floor. When they hit the ground, those people have them dumpsters filled in 2 to 3 hours. Okay? At least where I'm at, they do.
But there's people making money off of that. There's people cleaning out people's sheds, barns, charging them, holding on to it, and waiting for these dumpsters and coming in and dumping it.
So you're going to penalize the people that don't because of
No, I'm just saying though, but there's people profiting off this, and
what what situation doesn't have that kind of, I'm sorry, that kind of involvement, okay? Do you end all of them because of bad apples?
No, but
You know what I'm
just-
saying?
No, I'm just asking though how, and again, you have people that, you said that there were people coming in from these, the people that own the profiting from this. Well, there's people that pay for their trash next door to some of these people. I mean, but yet some people are able, they get free trash then, correct? If they're gonna hold on to it for 3 months and
Yeah.
then come dump it here?
So what do you do, now, here's the question. If you don't have the money to pay for them dumps, for that trash pickup, what do you do with your trash? The road commissioners can tell you what they do with it.
Is it getting worse? I have not heard any, I mean, I haven't heard.
Oh,
any
yeah,
comment
oh,
with
yeah, I
any
just heard from
complaints.
one of the road commissioners that was telling me what Mr. Kelly told me.
It's Mr.
They-
Lockhart.
they-
Kelly Lockhart.
They were telling me about picking up bicycles and this and that and everything just a couple of weeks ago. Said it was a whole mile long of stuff that was dumped, that they didn't have that problem before the program was ended. So yes, it's still occurring. I've got property that some stuff's been dumped on my property on a dirt road that goes through, it's up 100 and stuff.
I know some of the road commissioners I heard did say it got better. I'm not saying it did everywhere, but I've heard they had problems the first couple weeks. The people that didn't realize it was closed, had a truck full, decided to dump it somewhere, but have not seen an issue yet. And that is actually one of the things they told me. We don't want to bring it back, so we don't have to go through that several week period where everything's bad again.
Well, I know that it's not completely ended because I just was told about it happening. And I know that my road commissioner says it's still happening in our township. So in your
Yeah,
district, it's still happening. Yeah, you can talk to Doug on that issue, on stuff. And like I said, I'm here because I do care about the people. And I care about the elderly that can't afford the trash. And I've watched them come, and I'm talking people in their 70s and 80s. You know what I'm saying? And you were looking at a 2-year contract anyway that was going to end, okay? And it frustrates me that it couldn't, because there was no problem at all, that you just couldn't wait for that 2 years. And the only reason I can think that you couldn't wait for, somebody couldn't wait those 2 years is because somebody wanted that money before it was depleted. That's what it looks like, okay? That's what it looks like. Okay, so that's what I wanted to let the board know, that I'm not just an individual that doesn't know what I'm talking about, okay? I've got experience in both, and I'm not here for myself. And like I said, the reason they asked for the vote on it, asked me to ask for a vote on it, was because they wanted to identify the board members that did not want to reinstate the program. Whether you can do that or not at another later date, that's up to you. I was just asked to ask.
Obviously, we can't do anything tonight because it was not on
Right,
the
no,
agenda.
I understand. It wasn't on the agenda, and if it can't be done, that's fine. I don't know. I had somebody else telling me that it could be requested. That's just not up to me. And I'm just going by what I was asked to do. I've done it. I've done the best I can with basically informing you and enlightening you on the actual laws pertaining to this situation. And if you have any questions about these things, or you want me to work on behalf with the EPA on your behalf on this, I'd be more than willing to do it. I've worked with them in the past. But I would like to see this issue resolved. Okay? Thank you, sir.
May I make a quick comment?
One more.
Okay. About the insurance, part-time job that you get those kind of benefits, that's great. Next month, could you tell us how much it costs, and what the cost is to the county for those benefits?
The county board does not receive home savings accounts, nor do they receive retirement.
Mr. Zuen, didn't you tell me that you were going to be getting retirement?
No.
You said it wasn't much. You said it was like 40 or something a month. month, or is what you were gonna be getting. Is that not true? Nobody's getting anything? Could you let us know what the insurance is costing Polk County?
Probably talking about
Insurance?
pension. You're talking about pension.
Pension, okay, I'm sorry, yeah.
IMRF pension.
Okay. Could we know about that?
It's
See
still,
what the
no,
cost is?
no IMRF.
No, not everybody. There's people, Mr. Daly, Mr. Metzger's getting IMRF when he's done.
Mr. Zulo mentioned it as well.
The rules were changed, what, 2 years ago?
2 years ago,
Right.
yes.
Right.
So
Could you let us know
I,
next month what that's costing the county for you to have that insurance and have those benefits?
I don't know.
Could we find out?
Well, I guess it's taken out of my monthly stipend.
Okay.
So it's
But-
deduction
But the
out
county
of,
still pays a portion of that. Could you let us know next month what that, how much of that the county's paying?
we're deep into the budget, so that's one more number we can look at.
Okay, that would be great, thanks.
Just a short thought, let's call that EPA people in here from Springfield, tell them to get out here. Ask them questions.
I agree.
They ain't got much to do anyway. Cause trouble.
Mr. Allen,
Thank you, Chairman. Just as a quick note in regards to what he was saying about a vote, to avoid having to go through all your rules and committees to bring something like that to a vote, you could do a simple vote in support of, that's not action taken, but hey, do you guys support it, yes or no? And it would let the public know, what he was referring to, that wouldn't have to, go through any other process. It's just a, an imagery thing that, hey, do you support it, yes or no? And that way the people know. And that's the other side of why the statute outlines the board's supposed to vote on all those matters, because the people need to know how you vote on those matters, because it does affect the voting. That's all I got. Thank you.
all right. Motion to adjourn. Mr. Dover, second?
I'll second it.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. We cannot, no, we go in recess.
Yeah, we're not in there.
Yeah.
Recess.
Mr. Chairman, this is a question that I just want to, well, with all the board, there's nothing to do with anything. Last Saturday, I was at my house south of town, and I heard a huge explosion. And several people heard it. Did you
I was
hear
sitting
it?
on my front porch.
It shook my house, and I was like, what the heck was that? Do you know what that was?
Judging by the sound of it, I would guess it was a large,
Meth lab?
I'm gonna guess,
That's
there was
the
no
only thing I could
smoke,
think
so I'm guessing it's tannerite.
We're done with meth.
That's what a lot of people were saying.
No, I'm not kidding. I've had neighbors and people call me, did you hear that?
They're saying tannerite.
Tannerite was a
That
large,
was tannerite?
if they had enough of it, because there was no smoke,
My
no
God,
nothing.
that must have been a heck of a
It
stench.
rattled my windows.
I've never seen it. Or felt it before. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, where you down there.
Oh, outside, what the heck was that?
I just
Put a bunch up together, it'd make a hell of a lot.
Yeah, you put enough of it together.
Yeah, and I'll show you.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I just declare.
Just say we're.
All right, you're on the list now.
You're done, aren't you?
Yeah.